Let's go ahead and get started. Uh, First and foremost, I want to say call hello Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. Salakia for the tardiness. But today what we're going to go into is accountability, right? But I want to call this class after a proverb that I've heard a long time ago, but I recently heard it again in the John Wick movie. It says, how you do anything is how you do everything, right? So if you half-ass certain things here, you probably half-ass everything that you do in your life to a degree, right? And the way you reel that in and not build habits of doing that, of doing things the lazy way, right, is to hold yourself accountable, right? That builds self-respect, that builds self-love in yourself, right? We're going to talk about all these things throughout this lesson, right? So let me start, because I found this article that goes along with what I want to go into, right? I'm going to read some of it, and then we're going to stop periodically and address some precepts. Let's see. Yes, on betterup.com, right? Let's see. Where does it start at? Right? It's basically about tips on holding yourself accountable, right? I'm going to read some of it, and we're going to stop periodically. It says, some days you're locked in. Oh, wait, I didn't even share that screen. Whoops. That's crazy. Let me do this. There we go. Yeah, it says some days you're locked in, working toward an important goal and feeling great about your hard work and progress until an unexpected problem arises from a communication breakdown, derailing the project and leaving you defeated. This leaves you with two options: practicing self-accountability or blaming others for the issue, right? And that's a lot of things. That right there is really like the main issue of this lesson, right? Self-accountability versus blaming others for your issues, right? And that can take shape in, like, say you have a disagreement with somebody else, it's automatically the other person's fault no matter what, right? That's blaming others for the issue instead of taking accountability for your part you may play in the disagreement, right? Or say there's a project you need to get done in your house, right? See, because a lot of y'all are stay-at-home moms or even want to do that in the future. Say there's a project you want to do in your house, right? Or there's something you need to take care of in your house, right? And it just stays either messed up or incomplete for a long period of time. And then when somebody asks you about it, you be like, well, I got the kids, oh, I got this, I got that, right? Blaming outstanding things instead of looking at yourself like, you know what, I could have made time to do this. I could have made time to better myself. I could have made time to better this household, right? That's self-accountability. That's something that allows you to grow, right? And we see that through the scriptures, right? And let me read this next paragraph, and then when I want to get a few scriptures about this, right? It says, learning how to hold yourself accountable is hard. Studies have found that people prefer shifting the blame from themselves to other people or situations, making it natural for us to avoid responsibility. And that's been a lot of people's problem, men and women, right? It's easier to blame something else or somebody else for an issue that you have that literally stems from what you do, right? And a lot of us don't even understand that a lot of the issues that happen around us stem from our decision making, right? And that's what comes with examining yourself, right? It's just making it natural for us to avoid responsibility. It's a habit of many of us have formed. And it's a habit many of us have formed. And if it feels like the mistake wasn't truly your fault, why should we accept the blame, right? That's how people act, right? Like, see, like, oh, it's their fault. Like, I'm gonna wait for them to apologize. I'm gonna do all this, right? Instead of realizing you may have played a part inside of the issue that you've created, right? And that goes into an examine yourself, which we see in 2 Corinthians. I'm gonna go ahead and bring out 2 Corinthians. Most of these I'm gonna pull out in the NLT because that's what I do. All right, 2 Corinthians 13, verse 15. It says, examine. Oh, shoot, why is it not loading? There we go. Right. It says, examine yourselves to see if your faith is genuine. Test yourselves. Surely you know that Jesus Christ, or Yahweh Mashiach, is among you. If not, you have failed the test of genuine faith. Right? Now, us being in this truth, us being in this faith, right? We just think that's talking about just the law, statutes, and commandments, but that means just in general, right? It's not just I got to keep the laws or so. There's more to it than that, right? Coming in this truth and coming in this and walking in this faith requires you to be a better person outside of just the law, statutes, and commandments, right? Examining what you do, what role you play in situations, and how your life is moving, right? Because like I said before, right? Like that proverb says, how you do anything is how you do everything. So you should examine, hey, like say you're a stay-at-home wife. Examine how your house looks. Examine the projects you need to do in your house to make it better, right? If those things are lacking, you're probably lacking in something else. Maybe your faith, right? How you do anything is how you do everything. So if you and honestly, us as black folks, right? We know that that's a true proverb, because like when you see somebody messing up someone, say you work with somebody and you see like their workspace is dirty, a lot of people will be like, I wonder if that's what it looks like. I wonder what their house looks like, right? Because it's that same proverb of how you do anything is how you do everything is reflected through that. Right, we do that same thing. We think that about that same thing in our head. Like, dang, that's if they keep their workspace dirty like that, then what does their house look like, right? And if we apply that to us in the truth, if we're half-house in our work or our position or our role in this, like outside of the truth, what do y'all think you're doing to your role inside of the truth? That's why you should examine yourselves. This isn't just talking about the law, statutes, and commandments, but how you do everything, right? Now, when it said the things about shifting blame, I'm going to get another precept in Deuteronomy in the law, Deuteronomy 16, verse 19. It says, you must never twist justice or show partiality, never accept a bribe for bribes blind, tongue twister, for the bribes blind the eyes of the wise and corrupt the decisions of the godly, right? Now, what can we learn and how do we apply this to this situation? That's blame shifting, twisting justice, right? It's not literally like in this case, we're talking about like things as far as like court cases or councils, right? Twisting justice, that's blame shifting, taking the blame off of yourself or off of other people, when in fact they are the ones to blame, or yourselves are the ones to blame. That's what you're doing. That's what you're doing when you don't accept your own accountability, or you don't hold yourself accountable to what you do in your actions. You're doing this same exact thing right here by twisting justice, because you know what's right, and you know just because somebody, and I'll give you an example. A lot of women, right? I'll say this. Well, if he didn't want me to do that, like he shouldn't have brought that energy out on me, right? So let's say somebody brought some energy out on you as far as like you doing something that's unlawful, right? Somebody made you mad. Now you did something that's unlawful. The Lord isn't going to look at it like, well, he made you mad and you did something unlawful, so I'm going to look the other way. No, the Lord, the God we serve weighs people's actions. He doesn't care he's objective in the situation. He doesn't care about like the outstanding circumstances regarding it. He cares about what you did, right? And I'll show this in the precepts. This is 1 Samuel 2, verse 3. It says, stop acting so proud and haughty. Don't speak with such arrogance, for the Lord is a God who knows what you have done. He will judge your actions. So we can say like, oh, somebody brought that out of me, right? As far as going off, right? But the Lord's still going to judge you off of that. He is not going to care he is going to care what the other person did, but that's their own thing that they have to deal with. But the Lord is still going to judge you for the way you reacted in situations. That's why we need to hold ourselves accountable emotionally, hold ourselves accountable physically and occupationally wise. Like just like how some of y'all are stay-at-home wives, right? Hold yourself accountable in your position and in your role and do the best you possibly can. Because how you do anything is how you do everything. Right? Now I'm going to go back to this article real quick. I'm reading the next paragraph. It says, but accountability is a valuable quality that furthers your personal development and makes learning from setbacks easier. Practicing accountability helps create a mindset that can inspire others to admit to and learn from errors. Losing the fear of accepting blame, right, and admitting responsibility is another step to take on your self-improvement journey, right? So there's a lot of key things in here that I want to highlight, right? Learning from setbacks, right? It creates a mindset that you can learn from errors easily, and you lose that fear of accepting blame. If you hold yourself if you have integrity, that's the word I want to use. If you have integrity and hold yourself accountable for what you do, it's easier for when you get in situations where you have a disagreement with others, it's easier for you to hold yourself accountable in that situation because you already have an experience in it, right? And we can see that in the scriptures through the trials that we go through, right? This is Romans chapter 5, right? I'm going to start at verse 1 so it can build the context. Therefore, since we have been made right in God's sight by faith, we have peace with God because of what Jesus Christ our Lord has done for us. Because of our faith, Christ has brought us into this place of undeserved privilege where we now stand, and we confidently and joyfully look forward to sharing God's glory. That's talking about us receiving at the end of our faith the salvation of our souls, our ultimate goal. That's the whole purpose of what we do just in general, men and women. Verse 3, we can rejoice too when we run into problems and trials, right? Problems and trials go into the basic things you go through, right? The things you go through, the things you go through with your brothers and sisters, things you go through in your house, right? But it also can go into your own personal setbacks. Like, dang, I could have did this better. Dang, I could do this better. Dang, I could be better, right? These are these problems in your trials that you also have to deal with. Because we always try to look at the Bible like, oh, law, statutes, commandments. Yeah, we have to focus on that. Yeah, but we have to build ourselves past that, right? And there's a precept I want to get regarding that. I just thought about, I'm going to read this and I'm going to try to get that. It says, we can rejoice too when we run into problems and trials, for we know that they help us develop endurance, right? We already read earlier in the paragraphs where it said, like, it makes it easier for you to deal with things. It makes it easier for you to accept accountability. You develop endurance, right? That's that experience through afflicting yourself the right way, of holding yourself accountable the right way, right? Verse 4, it says, and endurance develops strength of character, and character strengthens our confident hope of salvation, right? Now this ties everything I said back into one little passage. How I said how you do anything is how you do everything. If I half-ass certain things right here, I'm gonna start half-assing big things. I'm gonna start half-assing my salvation. If I afflict myself the right way, hold myself accountable the right way, I build up endurance in that. It strengthens my character, like it says in verse 4, and that character strengthening strengthens your confident hope of salvation. That's your faith. So if you build up these little things that you lack in, or take care of these little goals that you've been just neglecting, or these personality traits that you know that you have, right, and don't try to work on, and then work on them, that will end up internally building your character to help you in this faith to get you closer to your salvation. The scriptures, like, it's crazy, like just wisdom that you see outside of the scriptures straight parallels what the scriptures say, right? That's why it's important for us to always go back to them and not just want to rely on them when a problem arises. Like you see in 2 Peter 1 verse 20, I think it's 20 and 21, where it talks about the scriptures, right? They weren't given by the will of man. Somebody didn't just wake up one day and just write these scriptures. They were holy men. The holy men wrote this as they was moved by the Holy Spirit. So the Holy Spirit put the Spirit on these people to write these scriptures so that we can read them now and understand them and walk in the way God wants us to walk in. If we don't pay attention to this book, if we don't actually pick it up and read, at least do something every single day, right, your vibration is going to be vibrating a lot differently than the Holy Spirit. That's one thing we have to realize. And that's something you want to stay in, especially in this dark world. So let me go back to this passage. Where is this? All right, I love this part because this is gonna explain it a lot better. This passage. It says, "What does self-accountability mean?" Right? Self-accountability means taking responsibility for your actions and behaviors without blaming others. Right? Like I said before, like, oh, he made me mad, so now I'm about to flip out. It's okay for me to flip out. That's not holding yourself emotionally accountable. That's not holding yourself physically accountable, or just you're not really holding yourself accountable. Just in general, right? So I'm gonna read this again. It says self-accountability means taking responsibility for your actions and behaviors without blaming others. It means you're fulfilling your obligations, tasks, and goals without excuses. And it is an unexpected challenge. And if an unexpected challenge comes your way, being accountable means you can focus on a solution without pointing fingers, right? So basically, you have integrity with yourself that I'm not going to do this because of my own personal convictions. That's your self-accountability, right? On top of that, you fulfill goals you set out to do. Just like if you have a project you need to do in your house, maybe you have a closet that needs to be cleaned out or something, right? Something as small as that. A lot of people will let that go for days, weeks, sometimes even months. Get in there and go do it. Just go do it. It'll end up giving you a boost of confidence, like, dang, like I actually got something done. I set a goal for myself. I completed that goal, and now I feel better, right? Something like that will probably make y'all feel a little bit more feminine anyway, right? Of completing goals like that. It says, and the third part, where it says, when an unexpected challenge comes your way, being accountable means you can focus on a solution without pointing fingers. Right? When something happens, you're solution oriented, right? Like, forget the pointing fingers part. I'm either going to be a help on figuring it out, or I'm going to figure it out myself. That's self-accountability. That's a trait we all need to have, men and women, right? Accountability is closely related to self-discipline because it demands that you remain honest about your actions and intentions, right? And I love that. That's a great way that's a amazing way to put it. Right? It's self-discipline. You have to train yourself. Just like how an athlete has to get ready for a fight, or have to get ready for a race, or get ready to compete. They have to go through training. You have to do that same thing to make yourself accountable, right? It says accountability is closely related to self-discipline because it demands that you remain honest about your actions and intentions. It's tempting to dodge the guilt of letting someone down, but you must strengthen your emotional regulation and sit with those negative feelings, right? And what do I mean by sit by them? Deal with them. Have emotional accountability, right? You can't put that on other people. You can't put your own emotions on other people and hold them accountable for it. You have to hold yourself accountable for it. That's what that's going into. You have to strengthen yourself by training yourself, right? Just like when you go in the gym and lift weights, you slowly get, just like you don't start off with like freaking 200 on each side. You start off taking up the bar, then you put like a 10 on there, then you put like a 20, and then you slowly increase. That's how you do with your emotional regulation, with your self-disciplining yourself and holding yourself accountable, right? And the good thing about this is, coming in this truth, the spirit comes upon you to self-regulate yourself. And if you can't do that, you probably aren't in this truth like that. And that's something that comes with examining yourself. But when you actually come into the truth, like how we say we are, you have the spirit to now self-regulate yourself, or at least you should, right? Second Timothy chapter 1, verse 7. It says, "For God has not given us a spirit of fear or timidity. It says, but of power, love, and self-discipline." That's the spirit that the Lord gave you to actually be in this truth. And if you can't develop that, or if you can't have that, that's a problem with your faith. And you're probably sliding on on big things too, right? I got another precept. 1 Corinthians chapter 9, verse 24. And just letting y'all know I'm still in the NLT. 1 Corinthians 9, verse 24. It says, don't you realize that in a race, everyone runs, but only one person gets the prize? So run to win, right? Like I said before, like everybody who's athletic, who's going to be a fighter, somebody who's going to be a boxer, somebody's going to be a basketball player, someone's going to play a tennis player, football player. They have to get in the gym on a daily basis or most of their week to be good enough to win that, to be good enough to either win the prize, win the race, win the fight, right? We have to do that with our accountability. Setting little goals, complete those goals, have integrity within yourself, right? Verse 25, it says, all athletes are disciplined in their training. They do it to win a prize that will fade away, but we do it for an eternal prize, right? That's what we do. Like a gold medal, right? Like a heavyweight belt. What's the Super Bowl? What's the Super Bowl called? Freaking, I forget the name of that. That's the only sport I watch. The Lombardi Trophy, the Stanley Cup, all these belts and accomplishments, all those are going to fade away, right? But the thing that we do, we chase after a bigger goal, which is the salvation of our souls through being qualified to be saved, right? That's something that's eternal. That's something that nobody take away. That's something that people can't even see, right? That's something that you specifically do within yourself or should be doing within yourself, right? So you need to be disciplined in these little things, right? Be disciplined in these little things that people think is just like irrelevant, and be good in those and do those to the best of your ability. And that'll translate into the big things. Like I said before, how you do anything is how you do everything. It says, so I run with purpose in every step, and I am not just shadow boxing. I discipline my body like an athlete, training it to do what it should. Otherwise, I fear that after preaching to others, I myself might be disqualified, right? Nobody on this call wants to be disqualified, right? Being disqualified means you're found guilty in the sight of the Lord. Being found guilty in the sight of the Lord means you're going to perish, means you're going to die in Babylon. You're not going to be a part of the first fruits of the kingdom. And I don't want that for myself. I don't want that for y'all's husbands, and I don't want that for y'all or your children. So what we need to do is discipline our body, meaning what? Disciplining our mind. Have integrity with yourself. Set out goals, complete them goals. That's what we need to do. Right? I think I got more precepts. Right? When we always hit. Proverbs 12:1. It's real simple. NLT. It says, to learn, you must love discipline. It is stupid to hate correction, right? The people, like I said before, you coming in this truth, you should have left that dumb mindset of the world of can't nobody tell me nothing, right? It's everybody else's fault. I don't have to do anything. We should have left that in the world. Coming into this truth, God expects us to be better than everybody else. You see in Proverbs about the righteous is more excellent than his neighbor. You know why that is? Because they love discipline. They love correction. They love to get better. But that's something we should be chasing as a human. And it's not something that's unattainable. It's not something that we can't possibly do. We all have to just start out small and just fulfill our roles to the best of our ability. That's not hard, right? All it takes is effort. So let me get another one. SICARRI chapter, let's see, SICARRI 4:29. 4:29. It says, this is which one I want to get? GNT. SICARRI 4:29. It says, don't be quick to speak or lazy and negligent in your work. Right? That doesn't even need a breakdown. Just don't be lazy, don't be negligent in your work. Don't be hasty to speak. Because usually when things are said in haste, you're what? Usually wrong or offending somebody or making somebody mad or making yourself mad, right? This is just wise proverbs that our forefathers left for us. right? Don't be lazy. Let me get another one. Proverbs 24:30. I brought this out before too. All right, Proverbs 24:30, all the way down to 34 in the NLT. It says, I walked by the field of a lazy person, right? The vineyard of one with no common sense. I saw that it was overgrown with nettles and it was covered with weeds, and its walls were broken down. That's like a house, right? If you go to somebody, if you go to somebody's house and look at the piss poor condition that it's in, you're gonna think of what? They're lazy. You're gonna think of what? They're not putting effort to make themselves better, right? And a lot of that will stem from having low confidence in yourself, right? Having poor self-worth in yourself and self-respect, because you can't respect yourself and live in a situation and live in a house where it's nasty. Like you're not respecting yourself in that situation, right? So verse 32, it says, then as I looked and thought about it, I learned this lesson. A little extra sleep, a little more slumber, and a little folding of the hands to rest, then poverty will pounce on you like a bandit. Scarcity will attack you like an armed robber. And if you've ever been to somebody's house like that, or know somebody like that, right, and see them in this poor, destitute state, when all you have to do is get the effort, put in the effort to fix your situation, you always notice that'd be the same people who ain't really got money. That'd be the same people who be in an impoverished state, because you're not putting in effort to rehabilitate yourself and rehabilitate your situation, right? Putting in effort, that's somebody who doesn't hold themselves accountable due to a lot of little things that they let slide, whether it be personality traits or whether it be on the effort side. And that's pretty much it on that part. Let me go back. All right, where was we at? Okay, right now I'm gonna get another one. Well, why is accountability? I'm back on the website that I was reading from. It says, why is accountability important? Be accountable for your action. Being accountable for your actions supports personal development by welcoming the changes that accompany growth. Right? No matter how uncomfortable it makes you. Right? That's how you hold yourself. That's how you hold yourself accountable. When you're going through things, as far as things that make you grow, you're welcoming it, because you know what's going to come on the outside of that. I might be going through this for this situation, but you know what's going to happen when I get up out of it. I'm gonna be strong. Just like when I'm in the gym putting in all them damn reps, right? It may hurt for a second. It may be a little sore to my muscles, but I know what's going to come out of it. Right? Because I know y'all out here doing this workout that y'all got going, right? This is a great example and a great way to hold you guys accountable to what y'all got going on, right? As far as that workout, y'all can hold each other accountable, right? But it says being accountable for your actions supports personal development by welcoming the changes that accompany growth, no matter how uncomfortable it makes you. Resisting to adapt to new circumstances or opportunities seems like an easy option, right? Easy. What's easy synonymous with sometimes? Being lazy, taking the easy way out all the time, just sitting on your hands and not doing anything, right? So resisting to adapt to new circumstances or opportunities seems like the easy option, but accountability will help you find better ways forward in the future, right? It's easy. I'll give you another example. It's easy for y'all to just not work out or do anything, right? It's easy to just sit there and honestly, not even just women, men in general. It's easy to not train your body or trying to do anything, right? But you going to work out, getting in the lab, doing what you're supposed to be doing will help you out in the future, because then you'll be stronger, right? That's what self accountability gets you, right? And it says here are some benefits of self accountability. I'm gonna read all 5 of them real fast, and then I'm gonna touch a few of them when we'll be done. It says greater self-awareness. It says better goal setting, growth mindset, increased self-confidence, and being more motivated, right? That's what comes with being accountable for yourself and being accountable for people around you, right? I want to touch on this. This is greater self-awareness, right? You'll have an easier time finding patience with yourself, feeling in control of your life, and deepening personal relationships when you can understand and accept your actions, right? Because when you have self-awareness and you have self-accountability, right, you begin to understand that, like, you know what? I can be wrong sometimes. I can be fallible sometimes. So, hey, let me show some grace to other people, right? That'll end up deepening your relationship, right? And I'll give some preceptual examples of that, right? Colossians chapter 4, verse 6. It says, let your conversation be gracious and attractive, right? In the Greek, it says seasoned with salt, but it says attractive, so that you will have the right response for everyone, right? Now, when you look at this in other translations, it says seasoned with salt and with grace, right? For example, I have a few new soldiers in the camp, and they do some things that, like, I'm like, bro, why y'all doing? Sometimes I want to just snap on them, but, like, you know what? I have to give them space to grow, right? I was there at some point, just like you see in Titus 3:3. We were all sometimes foolish, right? We should have grown in these years of us being in this truth and in this walk, right? We've grown. We should have grown a lot since then. So when we see certain people walking a certain type of way, we have to give them. Yes, we should say something. We should give them, but we should give them space to grow, right? And that shows forth through what you say. That's why I said so that you have the right response for everyone. Let me get Hebrews. What is this? Hebrews 4:16. It says, so let us come boldly to the throne of our gracious God. There we will receive his mercy, and we will find grace to help us when we need it the most, right? So we come to the Lord to find grace, right? We need it when we need it the most, because just like how we go through things and we mess up, we need the Lord to give us some grace. That's who we need. But how can we expect the Lord to give us grace, but we can't show that to other people, right? And that's not something you immediately learn this truth, but that's something that y'all should already know, right? Because you can't receive mercy without giving it. That's the whole. That's one of the main things that Christ taught when he was on the earth. This is James 2, verse 13. There will be no mercy, a mercy or grace. There will be no mercy for those who have not shown mercy to others. But if you be merciful, God will be merciful when he judges you, right? So y'all being in this truth, been in this walk for years, you should have a certain level of mercy that you show people, a certain level of respect that you show people. Why? Because you respect yourself. You know how to respect yourself by holding yourself accountable. So when you do that, it's easier to show love towards other people, right? We've all heard, and I'm making it real clear. We've all heard people say, you can't really love somebody until you learn to love yourself. It's the same way with respect. I can't, and respect and grace. I can't show respect to other people if I don't respect myself and hold myself accountable for my own actions. And when I do that, instead of killing a relationship off a simple argument that really has nothing to do with anything, I show mercy to somebody, and now our relationship grows. That's what you get from having what's it called? Having what did it say? Self-awareness, right? Which comes through examining yourself. Now it says better goal setting, right? Self-accountability also helps you prioritize when working toward your goals. Acknowledging that you choose how you spend your time allows greater productivity. Accountability reminds you to focus on your goals and use your time meaningfully, right? We wake up every day. Let's say we get 8 hours of sleep, right? And that's a problem for me. But eight hours of sleep, that gives you what, 16 hours? 16 hours in a day. What are you doing in that 16 hours of the day? It's real easy for us to say, like for a woman, like say a woman who has kids at the house all day, right? There's a certain project you need to get done, things you need to get cleaned on a timely basis, right? There's time that say you put the kids to sleep, you can manage your time that I'm going to get my cleaning done in this time while they're asleep, while they're not messing up the house. I know that by being around my kids, right? For sure. Like it's easier for you to manage your time to get and to be more productive while they're sleeping, right? Or while they're taking a nap to get what you need to get done. You can apply that same type of thing. You can apply that same type of blueprint for getting things done in your house with everything else in life. How can I make myself more productive in this short amount of time that I have? That's respecting yourself. That's respecting and loving yourself by showing respect to yourself and managing your time so you can be productive, right? And I got a few precepts on that because we see First Peter's 1:7, right? Our ultimate goal is the salvation of our souls, right? Let me get this. It says, 1 Peter 1:7, these trials will show that your faith is genuine. It is being tested as fire tests and purifies gold. Through your faith, though your faith is far more precious than mere gold. So when your faith remains strong through many trials, it will bring you much praise and glory and honor on the day when Jesus Christ is revealed to the world, right? That's our ultimate goal. Our faith being tried, we come out gold. We become innocent before God. Verse 8, it says, you love him even though you have never seen him. Though you do not see him now, you trust him and you rejoice with a glorious and unexpressible joy. The reward for trusting him will be the salvation of your souls. That's our ultimate reward. That's our main long-term goal that we have in our life. And if it isn't, it should be, right? But I assume that it is for all of us. To get to this goal, right, it requires you to go through certain things. It requires you to be a certain type of way. So knowing that, right, you have to manage the little things around you. And when you manage those properly, right, when you hit all your short-term goals, it helps you in your long-term goal of following the Father, because now you have more time to do so. You have, if you manage your time correctly, you have more time to do so. You have more time to work on yourself to be better, to push for your salvation, and you have more time to help others in this truth. That's the purpose of that. Setting small goals, completing these small goals, completing these mid-range goals to ultimately completing your long-term goal of your salvation. How you do anything is how you do everything, right? Proverbs 21:5. It says, good planning and hard work lead to prosperity, but hasty shortcuts lead to poverty, right? I'll give you an example of that. Letting something slide, because like I be looking at it as far as like what do I be doing in life, right? Like say like I have my office where I teach my lessons at. I got my computer, got my desk, got all these things, right? My desk, over time, my desk will get dirty from a whole bunch of papers I have with my lessons, my music stuff, and things just around. If I just work on cleaning at least one of those a day, right? I don't have to wait to where it's looking freaking like a pigsty and be like, dang, I don't want to have to do that, right? I'm just taking a shortcut every single day. Like, I'll put it off. I'll do it later. I'll do this later. I'll do that later. But now my whole room looks like a freaking sty when I could have just did something. I could did a little bit here each day, right? And made it look a lot better, right? That's good planning, thinking about it. Actually thinking about what you do and doing things meaningfully. Don't just go with the flow. Do what you have to do meaningfully, right? Don't just go through life aimless. Like have good planning and have a good work ethic in everything that you do, because it leads to prosperity. So let me get another precept on this same thing. Proverbs 24 and 27. I shared this on Facebook today. It says, do your planning and prepare your fields before building your house. Right now, think about this. What do you do in your house? You rest in your house. You sleep in your house. Right. So this is prepare your fields. What do you do in your fields? You reap the benefits of your fields. Because we were agricultural people. We had land. We had trees. We had fruit. All these things. That's what we did over there in our land, right? So it says prepare your fields, the things that will sustain you, right? Because when you have fruits and vegetables, we did what? Trade those things to get us money to buy other things, right? So prepare yourself prepare yourself on the things that will sustain you, that will make you better, that will help your house before building your house. Because what are you going to do when you build that house? I'm about to sit in here and be complacent. That's what happens. You're gonna sit in your house, be complacent, like, I'll build these, I'll tend to my field later time. I'll do this, I'll do that, and it never gets done. Right? Get done what you need to get done first before sitting down and being complacent. That's what this is ultimately teaching you. So let's go back into these bullet points again. That's goal setting. So having a growth mindset, right? I want to hit these two and then we'll be done. A growth mindset. It says accountability encourages you to be open to learning and developing rather than staying in the same place. You're curious to try new things if it means achieving your goals and experiencing more self-improvement, right? That's a growth mindset. Is you're open to learning. You don't want to just stay where you're at, because there's a lot of people in this truth who will just click on a class, right? They'll listen to a class, hear it, and then just let it go and just go about their life. You're not growing that way. You really might as well not even click on the class, because you're really deceiving yourself. That's why it says what is that in James? I got to get that in James. What is that? 1:22. Yeah, James 1:22. It says, but don't just listen to God's word. You must do what it says. Otherwise, you're only fooling yourselves, right? You're really wasting your time. If you're not going to apply what you learn in classes, if you're not going to apply to what you're learning, if you're not going to try to retain this information, you're really just wasting your time, right? You might as well not even log into the class. You might as well just stay where you're at. You're never going to grow that way. You need to be open to learning things, right? And if you're not like that, you're really just being a fool. And I'll give an example of this. This is Sirach chapter 21, verse 19. Let's see the Bible gateway. G and T. I think I need the whole chapter. Okay, yeah, Sirach 21:19. It says to a person with any sense and educate. Oh, slack, I said that wrong. To a person without any sense, education is like handcuffs. You hear that? That's crazy. To a person without any sense, education is like handcuffs. Like, dang, man, I don't want to be doing all that. I don't want to learn nothing. That's like your family out in the world. They ain't trying to learn nothing. They just want to just be stuck where they at because they like it and it feels comfortable to them. It says, but to a sensible person, it is like gold bracelets, right? An intelligent person will smile quietly when a fool roars with laughter, right? See, like what we do and what we attend to is knowledge. Somebody in the world, even your family members, will laugh at you about it. Oh, y'all putting those little tassels on your shirt. Y'all put them on your clothing. Y'all wearing dresses. Y'all wearing head wraps. Y'all keeping the Sabbath. They'll laugh at you for that, right? Because they don't want to be held to no type of standard. Education like that is like handcuffs to them. And it's for y'all, it's the same way. If y'all don't want to, if you want to just put a dress on, have a hair wrap on, listen to class and not apply it, you're really the same person. And honestly, you're really worse because you're pretending like you want to know. But yeah, that's one of those. Let me get another one. Let's see, Sirach. See, 21:13. Sirach got all the hits. Sirach 21:13. It says, the knowledge of the wise will increase like a flood, and their counsel is like a stream of life. The mind of a fool is like a broken jar. It can't hold knowledge, right? Because you see in the script, a lot of places in the scriptures where the wisdom of the word is a similitude to water, right? How would a young man cleanse his way, right? By keeping the scriptures and walking after the scriptures. You see in Ephesians chapter 5, it talks about cleansing us through the word, right? The word is similitude to water. Like it's a stream of life, like I was said. So I'm gonna read that again and read verse 14 again. This is, the knowledge of the wise will increase like a flood, and their counsel is like a stream of life. The mind of a fool is like a broken jar. It cannot hold knowledge. That's like the people who hear the word and don't apply it. You're like a cracked vase. You try to put water in a cracked vase, it just pours out of it. That's the same way as when you turn on a class, right? You given a shalom and a khan, right? When the class is over, you go back to doing whatever you're doing and forgot everything you just heard. That's what that is. You're like a broken jar. Verse 15, this is, if those who understand hear a wise word, they will praise it and add to it. Just like when people say, oh, I got a precept. That's that. You hear a wise word, you praise it, and you add to it. That's a good precept. Like here's one that goes with it. Those who like to indulge themselves hear it, and when they are displeased, they turn their back on it. Right? That's how foolish people do. It's the same thing as like being the broken jar, the broken vase. You hear it, go about your life. It doesn't matter, right? You're not growing. You know why? Because you're not holding yourself accountable as far as your intelligence or as far as you trying to learn something that will actually help you get closer to your main goal, which is salvation. That's what we need. But let's go back into this. Let's hit this last bullet point. Like that was a growth mindset. Now, the second one, it says increase self-confidence, right? And that, well, matter of fact, I'm going to read the sentence. It says, learning more about your capabilities builds self-confidence, right? How would we now put this in layman's terms, right? Say you set a goal, say like I want to do this to my house, say you want to do this, say I want to learn this. I want to set out myself every single day to read at least one chapter. When you start completing these goals like that, you're like, dang, I didn't know I could actually do it, but I did it. Let me see how far I can push it. Right? Say I want to read 2 chapters every day. And then you start doing that, like, dang, I could actually do that. Right? And that starts translating into other things you can do. It don't just have to be the Bible. Right? You start doing that. You can start doing that something small like that with the Bible, and then start applying that same blueprint to doing something in your house, learning something new, right? Instead of just watching what's some people watching? Instead of watching Baddies West, right? Let's say that. Instead of watching Baddies West, how about you turn something on where you actually learn something that you want to learn? Like don't just sit at the house being bored. But be like, I want to try to learn something new or learn a new hobby, right? Why don't you put a video on and try to learn how to do that, right? And it starts just building. You start building and building and building and building. Now look at your character after that. Like people think things like that is like, oh, I don't want to do all that. But like what ends up happening is you really build confidence in yourself, which allows you to be a better person, not only to your kids, not only to your husband, but to everybody and to the Father. Right. Matter of fact, I'm gonna read the second bullet point because they both go together, right? Then I'm gonna get my last 2 precepts. It says more motivated. Your motivation grows after reaching certain milestones, fueling your drive to keep setting new goals. If you can keep yourself on track to meet one goal, it will provide the burst of inspiration you need to focus on the next one. You see that? Say like you set out to like have a small little goal. I'm about to go clean this closet that's been messed up forever. I'm about to go clean this couch. I'm about to go really deep clean my house like that. And you do it. You feel what? Good after that because you set out a goal and completed it. and it builds your self-confidence. That's what that good feeling is. That good feeling is being attributed to your self-confidence. These are things I have to tell myself after all the weight that they be on my back, man, all the time. Like I have to just complete these small little goals so I can keep on pushing. That's that fuel that I need. So Sirach, these are my last two precepts. Sirach, let's see, Sirach 4:20 in the GNT. Okay, where is this at? Okay, even this passage is called self-confidence. It says, take advantage of opportunities, but guard yourself against evil. Don't underrate yourself. You see that? This is going into self-confidence. Don't underrate yourself. You know how you don't underrate yourself or afflict yourself in a bad way? By completing your goals. Humility deserves honor and respect, but a low opinion of yourself leads to sin. Why is that? Because you don't have any accountability for yourself. When you don't have no accountability to yourself, you literally just do whatever you feel like. And when you do whatever you feel like, what ends up happening? You do the wrong thing, right? You want to value yourself, give yourself value by having a high opinion of yourself through you completing these small goals in your life, right? It says, do not let others have their way at your expense. Do not bring on your own ruin by giving up your rights. And what is that rights is talking about? Your self-respect, your opinion of yourself, and don't underrate yourself, right? That's how you build self-confidence. But the only way you can get there is doing something to build up your self-respect in yourself by having self-accountability with yourself. And this is the last one I got. Sirach chapter 10, verse 28. Right, I love this precept. It says, Sirach chapter 10, verse 28 in the GNT. My child, keep your self-respect, but remain modest. Value yourself at your true worth. I'm going to read that again. My child, keep your self-respect, but remain modest. Value yourself at your true worth. That's what you need to do. Value yourself at your true worth. How can you value yourself? By examining yourself. Examining what you do. Trying to grow. Respecting yourself is trying to grow. If you respect yourself, you can respect other people, right? How do you grow respect for yourself and honor for yourself and value for yourself? Being somebody who can complete their goals and have and remain integral. That's what this whole lesson is about. And that shows through the little things that you do in life, right? How you do anything is how you do everything. But that's all that I got. Anybody have any questions? Con. But with that, I gotta get ready for camp. I'm saying, what's up? But with that, I gotta get ready for camp.
That's my head in the background. I ain't got no questions.
Okay. Wrong, man. But I'm gonna say, call Allah Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, and say Shalom.
Shalom. Shalom.